Welcome to Real Estate Hot Wired. Maggie Rose March will be your host today. She is an informed voice for the novice investor, a voice of reason for the seasoned investor. And we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Maggie Rose, and this is Real Estate Hot Wired. Today we are talking with JEANINE Thomas from Crowboth and Helm Mortgage Company, Inc. about the golden age of real estate, managing your real estate portfolio. And I would like to take a minute to introduce you, and it is my honor to introduce you to JEANINE Thomas. She has been helping borrowers find the best options for their mortgage financing needs for the past 2 decades. JEANINE is a licensed mortgage loan originator with the state of Florida and offers all types of prospective buyers and current homeowners loan products that she knows can work for them. She has a passion for both investors and first-time home buyers, and she has been personally investing in real estate since 1997, which dates her arrival to Southwest Florida. Her personal investment goals steered the path to her desire to help others reach their investment goals with variable mortgage strategies. JEANINE is known as a mortgage expert. She has been honored to receive the Sarasota 5-Star Mortgage Professional Award over recent consecutive years for her outstanding service and customer satisfaction. Most recently, JEANINE was recognized by the National Board of Real Estate, accepting the Integrity and Knowledge Distinction Honor Award. On a personal note, she is the proud mother of 3, a dog lover, and thoroughly enjoys the outdoors, and she loves to travel. JEANINE, welcome to Real Estate Hot Wired. We're happy to have you here.
Hi, Maggie. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you as a guest for our audience today because I know we can change some people's lives today. I have been lucky enough to speak with you about the golden age of real estate and my thoughts on managing your real estate portfolio, prior to today. But I don't think we ever had the opportunity to really talk about this subject while thinking about our more senior investors. And more importantly, how this program you have available for your investors, the one that you and I were talking about before, especially why your no employment, no income, or no income, no employment verification investor loan, why is it so popular? And with the senior demographic, what do you think is the reason for that?
Well, I think, Maggie, that you were as excited to hear about the program as we are in the office. I think, we have a lot of, entrepreneurs, a lot of self-employed business owners that have trouble with qualifying for conventional investment products. So these specialty products work really well for them. It helps them meet their, investment strategies, their goals. So we do have several lenders that offer the no income. That means no income means no W-2, no tax returns, no paycheck stubs, for investment acquisitions and for refinancing. So it's twofold. The typical down payment for investments for these specialty programs is anywhere from 20 to 25% down. Really the mortgage underwriting, it's based on the property income potential compared to the expenses, which makes good common sense. And that's a much different way of analyzing the qualifying criteria has compared to, standard conventional financing options. So this program is strictly for investment purchases. So the lenders do want to make sure that the borrowers do own a primary residence, and they have a lot of really neat niches that conventional products don't have. For example, you don't have to show reserves. There's a lot of good perks. And even over and beyond the no income investment product, We also have, other specialty niche products too, just like the profit and loss only program. We have a bank statement program where the borrower can show either 12 or 24 months bank statement programs where they use deposits only for qualifying. We have a 1099 only program. We have an asset utilization program. So at the end of the day, there's just a wide selection for options for investors.
So what would be a 1099 only? I heard of something like that, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago. I haven't heard of that recently. So what is that now?
A 1099 is when, those that are considered self-employed that receive 1099s for income, you would show just the 1099s as opposed to a tax return. So, many times, when you receive a 1099, it'll be for X number of dollars, but then on the tax return, you're going to have, deductions and write-offs. So they're qualifying based on the 1099 alone. And so basically it's gross income received from a certain entity as opposed to, tax returns, which would take the adjusted gross income after expenses.
Ah, okay. So now on the no income verification loan, how does the investor protect himself? What is the thinking that lets him or her feel comfortable with that loan? What do they want to see?
The loan is a great product. I mean, it is really a great product. So we use that loan a lot when someone doesn't have the option of bank statements. The bank statement program will have like deposits only added up for qualifying. But maybe, there's different sources of income, different entities, things that would complicate even the, most alternate forms of qualifying. So the loan programs for the no income, no reserve is basically, either a 30-year fixed mortgage, a 5-year fixed mortgage, or a 7-year fixed mortgage. Well, I say fixed, like the rate would be fixed for 5 years and then adjust. The rate would be fixed for 7 years, then adjust. Or you could have the rate fixed for 30 years if you plan on holding it long term. So the risk is the same as with any mortgage that any person would be applying for.
So they look, so they look at it as if the risk is still the same, that they don't have it. Well, that's good, because now this can't be, this has to be private or portfolio lenders. Am I right in thinking that? Or is it?
Correct. The lenders are not selling to the secondary market. So it's not going to, these are not Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac products where they're not considered conventional. And hence that's why they can only be, for investors, which I think is a great thing. Let me clarify that. The no income product is strictly for investors. The other programs can be used for, second home purchases and primary residences, but to do a true no income, no reserve, that program, is set aside strictly for investors. So investors will decide, based on their credit score and their down payment, they'll make a decision of where that interest rate falls. And if, what their goal is, if their goal is to hold the property long-term for a certain length of time, look at the cash flow analysis and determine which would best suit their needs. Would it be better for them to take a slightly lower rate, knowing that they plan on holding the property for 3 years because the cash flow is better on a 5-year or a 7-year ARM as opposed to a 30-year fixed? So it's strictly a game of numbers at that point. But it really is a fantastic product because it's a product that normally somebody with an excellent credit score, somebody with a, somebody that wants to invest would not normally be able to qualify under conventional criteria. This is a great alternative product to help them meet their goals.
So do they allow seller concessions? I mean, are there limits on that or
Mm-hmm.
any restrictions? There are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
they allow seller concessions. I mean, some of our products even go up to 5% seller concession. Now, I will tell you, on a conventional program where, like, the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac world, on an investment property, the seller concessions are limited to 2% of the purchase price. But on these alt products, some of them go up to 5% of the purchase price. Not that cost would be that high, but nonetheless. So it really depends on what product that the investor chooses.
And when they are, let's say that investor wants to buy multifamily, and there are reserves, security deposits and things like that. How does the bank or the investor, the lender, handle um, that process of verifying that kind of information?
They wouldn't. You're talking about on this particular type of program?
On that program in particular, yes.
They wouldn't. If you're buying a multifamily property and someone's giving earnest money deposit down or security deposits for rent, that's not something that the lender's interested in. An appraisal will be done, and the appraiser will most likely mention what the fair market rent is per unit in that area, and do like maybe an operating and rent schedule. That's pretty typical. So many times that information is captured within the investment appraisal, but the lender isn't specifically looking for that. The lender is looking for basic cash flow, just making sure that it makes sense. You don't want to go into a product where you've got a $3,000 a month mortgage payment, but you're only collecting $1,000 a month in rents. So
well,
it's
that
more
brings
of a
me,
common
yes.
sense.
Yeah, that brings me to a really good question, and that is, what do you think? Your thoughts, because you're an investor. I mean, like you said, this is how you got started in the business. What do you think
Mm-hmm.
should be at the forefront of any investor's mindset?
Well, I think that cash flow is crucial. Yeah, even if the goal is short term, like a short term hold, meaning buying and selling quickly versus a long term hold, because many times someone goes into a property planning on doing a rehab and using the term flipping it, selling it quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it becomes, and maybe the numbers, something comes up unexpected and changes the numbers and changes the math for them. And then that short term becomes a long term, depending on the market and other factors. So even if it is a short term, the goal initially going in is short term, I always encourage them to, can try to look at it as a long term and still do the math and make sure that the property is cash flowing. And on that same investor's mindset, I think that, what's crucial for any investor, I think developing a plan where they clearly list their goals and then they have a backup strategy in the event, for example, someone goes in to buy a property and then sell the property rather quickly. Having that backup strategy in place right from the beginning, knowing how much time that person wants to donate to investing. And of course, knowing the market is absolutely essential for the real estate investor.
I agree with you on that. I do think that cash flow is number one. And I think without your exit plan, I always have my plan A, my plan B, and my plan C. And I advise people, be sure you understand that, there's more than one way to think about how to purchase it. And there's more than one way to think about what your exit strategy is going to be, because it could change. And if
That's
you
exactly
aren't,
right.
yeah, exactly. And if you don't have cash flow at the forefront, then when and something does change, you've put yourself in a forced savings. Is the most polite word I can think of. You're forced to put money into something that's going to be a later down the road payoff, but it can be very painful, and people get very discouraged because of that.
That's
So
right. That's right. I agree with you. You have to have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, and everybody's exit strategy needs to have an exit strategy. You know,
Exactly. And
you have to
I
prepare for the